What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Easy Convo. I'm Zaid. I'm here with my co-host Emmanuel Bird. It's been a minute, man. I feel like we haven't filmed in a little bit.
Well, we were talking about it on the phone. I was like, dude, like feels like it's been like a week or 2 weeks since we got back on the pod. How you feeling, man? You feeling good?
Good, man. We're good. Happy for this episode. We got someone I go way back with. Someone that was a big part of my basketball days.
Yeah.
And I'll let you give the formal introduction on him.
Definitely, man. Like you said, this is someone who's for you personally, the impact goes deeper than basketball. This is bigger than just a game. Um, Today we have a teacher, a mentor, a student of the game, a basketball aficionado. Is that how you say it? Would that be?
That's right.
I'm putting it together over here, champ. I'm putting it together. We have somebody who's in the basketball space in the Kansas City community, but also much greater than that. A very well-known name. This is someone who has left a fingerprint on the youth, on the pros, on the college, on high school, just any facet of the game. He's left a fingerprint on it and continues to do so. Today, tomorrow, the next day, next week, you'll see him. We are very honored and we're blessed to have Mr. Ryan Deppen on the pod today. Ryan, we hope it's an easy convo for you, brother.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Looking forward to breaking down some of you guys' questions and kind of spilling some info and some details, some stories. So
Definitely, man.
Definitely, man. Just to start off, why don't tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from?
yeah, man, I'm from Overland Park, Kansas, more like Stillwell, Kansas. Grew up, loving I guess all sports, baseball, basketball, football, you name it. Like I probably experienced it a little bit in some way, shape, or form, and so uh, was a kind of do-it-all athlete growing up, and so it was one of those things. I didn't really find a huge passion for basketball until late in like high school, and so it was just kind of an interesting upbringing. But played all the little league stuff. Wasn't super serious. Didn't come from a family of like high level athletics of any sort. Actually, any athletics. Parents were very. My dad's an ex-marine, or is a marine. Mom was a real estate agent. Brother was in band. Sister, was just kind of a student and a really good student. But for me, it was different. Just a different world. Growing up, I wanted to be ingrained in sports in some way, shape, or form. So, um, but yeah, you know, grew up at Blue Valley area, Blue Valley High School, Prairie Star Middle School. Just from the area. Regular kid, and uh, it's cool to be kind of operating in this area again. After a couple different, trips to Wichita and just different areas in the city, coaching wise, and it's great to be back and just ingrained in, obviously the Blue Valley area, but Kansas City in general. Kansas, Missouri, just the region. So um, yeah, but anyway, so grew up not that big of a basketball player, and then kind of found that passion late in high school, and you know wasn't all that good of a player. I could shoot, and that's about it. Was a pretty terrible basketball player looking back. Looking, it's like all these kids. You got fifth graders hitting step back threes now, so that's a new thing. Uh, I don't even know if I could shoot a three when I was in like fifth grade for real. But all of that, put to the side, like, it's been a long process of like 10 years. So, didn't play college ball, and went right into kind of like my senior year. Had an opportunity after breaking my wrist to like kind of get involved, with a trainer, by the name of, obviously Victor Williams. And so Victor, was having me kind of working guys out over here with a cast on my left hand. And, I was over here trying to just not whack people with it. But, he put me right into his workouts. I was helping him out. And then at some point transitioned to helping out Luke Cooper, with the Pure Sweat brand and everything that he was running in Kansas City for a couple of years. and all at the same time, just kind of like growing, building my relationships, building my knowledge, my my basketball um, base of just understanding the game. Really had a lot to learn still, even at this point. It's like sophomore year in college, or and still working a job, working camps, running my own stuff, but on top of that, all going to school at the same time. Um, and so, it was great opportunities. I worked at the airport, so I could fly for free and go train guys, in other states and other cities. Build some of my relationships outside of Kansas and Missouri, and so um, I started to realize like there wasn't much to do during season. There just wasn't much to actually, you know, do as far as a trainer and as far as player development. Like a lot of kids just didn't really work out during the season because they had high school practice or whatever, school, they got a busy schedule as it is. So I jumped into, coaching high school. And so Coach Fritz, I got connected with him through Luke. Obviously we had bumped into each other. I'd worked with a couple of his players previously, but um, took a job under Coach Fritz and learned a tremendous amount in the 2 years that I did coach. We got our season ended our first year, short with COVID, and then the second year going into, um, you know, dealing with the COVID, restrictions and no fans and all that. And so that was a great, 2 years, that was kind of disrupted by some crazy things, but um, was still running workouts and it was actually a blessing in disguise in some ways. I was one of the only guys in Kansas City with a gym during COVID, and so was able to kind of again utilize that as an advantage to build the relationships and be one of the guys in Kansas City working guys out during COVID, and in a controlled, safe environment. So um, it was a great opportunity for me, kind of a like I said, blessing in disguise. And then after those 2 years, I ended up taking a job at Sunrise Christian down the road in Wichita, um, coaching basketball. Coaching post grad. It was like some like 50 games in 6 months or something like that. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of basketball. You play 2 to 4 games a week, and so we were coaching, scouting. We did the whole thing as far as player scout, team scout. Um, it's your whole world is basketball, which is awesome. It's a blessing. Um, Loved it. It was a great experience for me. I decided to kind of come back and do player development full time. Um, and since then, kind of been uh, gym hopping a little bit, but all at the same time, just expanding my reach, expanding the amount of people that I can help, impact and grow in their game and grow in life. I think over the last 6 years, 5 years, so it's been crazy to kind of see where this journey started and where we are now. It's wild 10 years, so coming up on 10 years here in the fall. So.
Definitely, man. I think you speak to it itself with just the ups and downs and movement around your journey within the game. I'm curious to like the beginning of your journey. You mentioned obviously having a sister and a brother, and them
Mhm.
being at various things outside of just basketball. But you said your father was a Marine, and that kind of piqued my interest of like how did that help develop your disciplines that you may have now, or your disciplines growing up and things like that.
Man, my father's had a lot of impact in my life as far as just um, you know teaching me how to not only one be a man and learn how to not only treat others but also just to like he would tell me stories of some of the things he had to deal with and just in that manner like the amount of discipline, like you said, the amount of discipline that he had to have in order to be a Marine, in order to become one is one thing, but in order to uh, carry on that legacy as far as being known as a Marine and being all of that encompasses the Marine Corps. I think, those little things is such as like you don't hit snooze on that alarm clock. You get up, you get out of your bed, you get your day started right there and then. You don't, little things like that, such as so simple as that. Um, if you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it to the full extent. You're not gonna be half in the boat, half out the boat. Um, you know, uh, I wasn't the best student. I was actually a pretty rough student, uh, but like really had to learn how to become a better manager of my time, um, and decision making and just problem solving. My dad's one of the like smartest human beings I know as far as problem solving, and he doesn't know anything about sports or basketball or any of that, but very smart business mind, very smart. He works IT actually now, and is one of the top uh, people. I don't know all the terminology, but one of the smartest brains as far as IT, in the country. And so has done a lot of really big projects and handled a lot of big problems. So it's taught me just through a lot of those things, kind of resort going back to like his Marine Corps days, like just really um, helping me establish a good baseline to be a successful human being, not just only in like basketball, but in life. I think some of those disciplinary things that, he taught me how to do at a young age. So, um, yeah, my family had no sports background. When I mean no sports background, I mean like probably I think my dad played a little bit of football or a little bit of sports just growing up, but his whole family was military. And so ROTC and all of that, his whole family is military. My mom, same kind of deal, and so sports, I don't know how it got plugged into my brain, but it did. And they helped me kind of establish a great way to go about it. Um, you know, Meaning in that same way we had talked about as far as not doing anything half butted, so we allowed to
Mm.
cuss on here, by the way.
No, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Good. I just don't want to let one free and be like, so my
Not
bad.
crazy, but it's cool. We're PG-13.
All right.
Um,
Good looks.
Zayd, I know you have a question here as well, but I gotta know, when you was a youngin, did he have you like doing push-ups when you would bring home the grade card and it was kind of
Oh, bro,
scandalous, or
bro.
was the discipline crazy?
If it wasn't the belt, it was definitely push-ups. It was definitely, hey, take a walk, get out the house. Don't come back until you're ready to talk or ready to handle your business. And so there
Yeah,
was just a lot of, there was some of those things. He was actually a pretty like I wasn't that much of a troublemaker. It just wasn't my, school wasn't my really my thing. And so um, I had to learn how to do that more at a better rate as I grew up. But no, nothing
definitely.
too crazy. Nothing too crazy.
I wanted to ask, you mentioned kind of finding that passion when you started to work with Vic, your senior year of high school. Correct? You said senior year of high school, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, Damn, that's early on. Wow, I didn't realize it was that early, really young. And while you're finding that passion, what part of it of training kids you think you really created that passion? Was it the seeing people's growth? Was it just giving back to your city, your community? What part of training you think gave you that passion to keep going with it?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of things. I think like between not being that good of a player and wanting to like just stay in the game because you find that like that itch. You're like, okay, this is sweet. This is awesome. It's something way bigger than um, just ball. Idolize some of the guys I was in the gym with, growing up. And then I would say like, the other side of it being like just the interpersonal relationships, and the 5 minutes after a workout, 5 minutes before a workout, those types of things. I think like that relationships run the world. And so, I would say like with my family not living here anymore, like my family is my basketball players. My family is the extended family of them. And so, it's their parents, their brothers, their sisters, like they are my family. And so that was one thing that I think like uh, my relationships are super important to me as far as, um, I want to be able to have as many people at my wedding as I can or at my funeral as I can. I want to be able to leave an impact. And then the flip side, I would say, like, just the passion within basketball itself. Um, Basketball is a way of taking, you know, taking you anywhere, getting to meet anybody. And then, like you said, kind of that day-to-day progression and the kind of unseen hours behind it. And I talk about it. Just joking with somebody yesterday. Uh, I've got a kid that I work with pretty religiously on a week-to-week basis, several times a week, and I started with him when he was in like seventh grade. It's just one of them. Like, he started with him when he's seventh grade. Wasn't all that good of a player, and so to see him and now grow to be the player that he is right now and get going into his senior year is crazy just to think about. Like, dang, I've known this kid since he was a seventh grader or sixth grader. And that goes for a lot of these kids. I've got guys, like such as yourself, Zaid. Like, I think I worked with you starting out as like a sophomore or something around there. Was that right?
Yeah, I
Sophomore.
think it's freshman or
So
sophomore.
yeah, freshman, sophomore, and so now you're in college, and it's been crazy to get to see your growth and your progression. And so I've got guys that I graduated college and I started with them in eighth grade, so it's a crazy thing just to kind of see. Um, it's way outside of just basketball. You try and help them however you can, open up doors, relationships. Um, and so, like I said, it all runs around relationships for me, man. Like that is my life. I care about a lot about people. I care a lot about people. So
Definitely. We had Jordan Heinriquez on the pod last episode, and
yes,
he
sir.
said it was a real big brother moment from him when he said this, but he was like, "Man, I remember, Depp, he'd be on the court with his notebook and notepad, like with a list of drills, list of workouts for his guys." And I wanted to ask you when he said that, us knowing that we'd have you on eventually,
Mhm.
what would you say is the biggest evolution you've seen for yourself in terms of like, I mean, I haven't worked out with you one on one before,
Yeah.
but I'm assuming that you're not having a notebook and things like that out now, you know?
Not anymore. I still have my notebooks, trust me. I still have plenty, it's an evolution actually. It's more of a digital notebook at this point. And there's a lot of different things that I've tried to um build on, and I'll still go back to some of my older drills and think like, dang, that was actually a pretty good drill, or like, dang, that was actually like a pretty good concept that like I implemented, and this branched from this, that branched from this, that branched from this, and that's where we're at now. But like that was actually a pretty good drill. Um, I would say the biggest kind of evolution that's happened in my world is just actually the game itself, like, and how much it's changed over the last 10 years. Like I talked about kind of earlier, like you got fifth graders hitting step back threes. Like this is the skill set that these kids have nowadays is crazy. Um, I think so. It's implementing more of like, I think it used to be a lot of the footwork and the type of move and when you use it and how you use it and why you use it. I think like now it's kind of transitioned to a little bit of a mix of that and more game um, scenarios, game situationals, reads, spacing concepts, some of that stuff. Like I think that's a lot of where I've tried to supplement as we get, you know, I think uh, deeper into this social media age where it's easy to get sidetracked from what the game actually is. And um, I think that is kind of my goal is to establish that as like a this is really what the game is. yes, we still want to be able to have skill set, but finding a way to mesh those is just a constant journey. It's a constant process, and so uh, engineering drills and workouts and development plans uh, around that concept and that goal is really what drives the day to day right now. Um, Whether it's an individual or a group or a team, be a whole program, but like all of that pretty much, um, I would say that's the biggest evolution is figuring out how the game has changed and how we have to like navigate it, you know. So yeah.
Oh,
Definitely.
definitely. It kind of led us into our next, section talking about the game itself. We obviously kind of heard your story and your how you got into training, but just to start off, man, do you think is the biggest mistake that, young players are making right now that are trying to get better? Um, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a toughie. That's a toughie.
Hmm.
I would say it's not like any one mistake. I would just say one thing that I would definitely warn people about is not everything is solid stone like the truth, right? And so, you may see like somebody hit a move and be like, "Oh, I need that in my game." And that's totally good. Yes. But at the same time, like we kind of just talked about, like the game is still the game. Like it's still the same exact game. Certain things might change or adapt over time, but the game's still played the same way. You know, the problem and solution is still the same, right? How things, the chess pieces move the same way. And so I think a lot of people what they might do is naturally, like young kids, especially right now, is they latch onto one person, what one person says or thinks, and then they run with it. And so sometimes I think like it's really really important for guys to get as many ears, as many eyes, as many like voices, and as they can, and then not necessarily run with each every one of them, but take each little bit with a grain of salt and just understand like that's something I do need to add to my game. Now, if 10 people are saying the same thing, all right, cool. We need to like really probably work on that. But I would just say make sure for young kids, especially like young kids should definitely like try and absorb as much as they can, you know. I think it's easy for people to get complacent in that. Um, but I would say as far as like actual skill set, and the changes of the game and some of the things where I think like kids struggle at the most is uh, they're very one like one level, right? So like you can shoot the three really well, you can get to the mid range really well, you can score at the rim really well. Okay, how do you build out your game, and why and how are people playing you on offense even? And then I think like um, I think the conversation that I have with a lot of kids right now, as far as high school, like these kids, they get told they're a point guard, or they're told they're a big, or they're told they're a wing, or they're a shooter, a 3 and D. They're it's like they either say it themselves or somebody tells them what they are. When in reality, yeah, a coach might say, "I'm looking for a point guard," or "Oh, I'm looking for a wing," or "Oh, I'm looking for a big." The reality is they're looking for a basketball player, right? So like, be the best basketball player you can be. You can't control how tall you're going to be. You can't control how athletic you're going to be. You can't control how well like your how big your hands are going to be, or any of that stuff. Like I think like you can't control that. You can control what you absorb, what you spend your time on, and um and how you go about your day and your workouts and your season, your week, whatever it may be. Like you can control certain things, but you can't control some of that. So don't think about being what somebody may tell you. Don't go outside of yourself to do that. Um, Focus on being the best basketball player you can be.
I can cut out
I
if you're
think
still
that's
talking.
at the end of the day, like being the best basketball player at the end of the end of the day is going to get you recruited the most. So
We need to put a nice little edit over this of sound. We watched the full video back. No, I think before he when he gets loaded back in here, he was making a good point though. I think, dude, a lot of young kids too, they just don't care too, bro. Like I don't know if you noticed that, but like their lack of just genuine like not effort, I would say, but just like they're just so quick to be like, all right, like it's whatever, you know. And I feel like when I'm a kid and a coach said something, I'm like, man, you know, you take it to heart, you want to grow on it, you want to build on it. Whereas like now, I feel like some kids are just like, all right, whatever, like it's cool, I'll just do something else. You know, it's so quick to move on from it, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Looking back on it, like training, like coming out of high school, I would
Hmm.
have done like more, like at least on my own. I feel like the trainers I trained did a pretty well job. They're a good job,
Yeah.
but like I feel like you get to college, like you get like two or three dribbles max,
Oh my gosh,
to
yeah.
play. So what's going on? What's going on, Ryan?
We're
we
back. We're
lost you there.
back.
I don't know what happened.
No, it's all
I don't know
good.
what happened.
It kind of leads us into our next question. We were just discussing it.
Hold on,
Uh,
Zay. Before you get into the next question, because I had some for Depp. He's talking about,
mhm.
you know, you're not a big, you're not a guard. Hey, you need to share that with Michael, bro. Because yesterday, this hurt me in my feelings, and my feelings was hurt. Because then I'll tell you the truth. Michael was like, "All right, we're trying. We had about four bigs. I'd say two legitimate fives, and then there's some
Yeah,
hybrid. A lot of there was a lot of hybrids in the gym, a lot of hybrid guards, a lot
yeah,
of hybrid wings, and things like that.
yeah.
And Michael was like, "Man, you know, we want to go four guards and one big, so we can really cycle and let the bigs go at it. You know, give them space to go at it."
Uh,
I tried to get on the court, and he was like, "Nah, nah, we only need one big. We only need one big." And I was like, "Bro, hey, I'm out here guarding Xavier Rhodes. Like, I'm doing okay. Let me." And then he was like, "You sure? You know, whatever, whatever. But tell Michael, bro, you don't have to be a guard
I'll
or a big.
talk to him.
You just need to
I'm
be,
gonna chop with. I'm gonna have a convo with Mike.
you
We
just
got
need
to
to be a
talk.
basketball player."
Hey, basketball players, the main thing, man.
Exactly.
Coaches ain't recruiting. They might be saying they're looking for something, but man, coaches out here, especially for those young guys,
Hmm.
like just be the best basketball player you can be. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying? Whether that's a rebounder, a shooter, like
yeah,
just be the best basketball player. I think that's people
100%.
get so caught up on titles and names and positions. So
Yeah, I mean, you look at and I'll get into my next question here in a second, but I think we were talking about it when before we started recording, like a guy like Christian and I were Christian's probably an inch or two shorter than myself, but like that's a guy whose game translates perfectly to the NBA. Like he's able to guard the 1 through 4, 1 through 5, depending on who the five man is, and he's just a basketball player. Obviously, you know, shoots it, rebounds, does everything he needs to do for his team. But like, it's a perfect example of someone who's in proximity, I guess.
mhm.
Um, but that leads me into my next question. Of we had Kai on the pod, and he was talking about what separates Kansas City basketball, Kansas City, Kansas basketball from a lot of the places he's been to. And obviously, you've seen a lot of the game
Yep.
as well. And he said one of the biggest things that's so unique about Kansas City basketball is the love that's shown and the love that's shared, but in a competitive way throughout the players. And I
Hmm.
think that like with what you're doing with the KC run and just everything like that is a perfect example of like how we're able to get competitive for an hour 45 minutes, and it'd be genuine, like good bump, like almost feels like game like scenario. But then on the flip side, afterwards, we're talking, we're dapping up, you know, things like that. There's no hostility in the gym. And if you can, like, expand on that or just something that
Yeah.
you feel makes Kansas City or Kansas City, Kansas basketball very unique from other places you've seen or been a part of.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I would say like the one thing that I think, you know, being in a smaller market city, like you can call it a small market, I guess, but like um being in a smaller market city, everybody knows everybody. Um like everybody knows everybody. And so you're gonna bump into player X or player Y or player Z any day of the week if you're in the right spots. And so uh, I think there's no reason but to like just show love and I think a lot of people from outside of Kansas City kind of see us as a flyover, and we kind of get acted on like that. As far as like people kind of fly over and not really put much respect on Kansas City. So I think it's like an underdog mentality that's kind of spread throughout the city.
Yeah.
I think within that, like everybody kind of is like latched on to like, yo, he may not be working out with me, but like that's a damn good player. Or he may not play for my AAU team, but he's a good ball player. And then, it's a little bit of just respect and credibility and love. Like it's the same thing, like in a perspective of like what Spencer's doing with the Spence League. I think what they're doing is awesome. Like it's sweet. It's a different thing from the KC Pro Run. Like all that, like you could say we're competing, but at the same time, I got a tremendous amount of love for what they got going on over there, and allowing a lot of people to come and hoop and get good bump and compete against some of the best players in the city, and still uh, make a great fun event out of it. And so stuff like that. I think there's a lot of genuine love and appreciation for people that are doing the right things and doing things that are good by not only the sport but also the city. And so I think everybody wants to see everybody make it. We just want to see you come back. I think
Yeah.
that's the main thing. We just want to see people come back.
Definitely.
So
Shaman, where
um,
you at, bro? Come on back.
man,
Shaman, where you at?
hey, I'm gonna have to give him a call here soon, but
Definitely.
he's out there celebrating still. So
100%.
um, but no doubt, no, I think like the just CB, him building the crib out here, like that shows like he's ingrained in Kansas City. Like he loves this area. He loves this community. Uh, him showing up to the run, him showing up to Spence League and stuff like that. Just guys being in the community is huge.
Yeah.
Uh, we got plenty that are moving to Kansas City, and so those guys are getting open arms, accepted, appreciated in their own way. Like Anthony Clemens, like Sap. Sap's one of the most I talked about it the other day. Sap might be one of the most top five most respected players in the city right now, just because he just knows the high level game. He has high level feel and IQ, and so people appreciate him like a vet. And he's not even from the area. He just moved here during COVID. Um, but guys like that, I think it's just a whole nucleus of like family in some sort of way. Everybody's attached to everybody. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's worked with everybody. And so I think there's genuine love and appreciation across the board. So
You can't duck in KC either. Like
nah,
you can go slide at like some runoff runs, but you can't duck. Like if you want to get the cream of the crop run, like you're gonna run into the top guys. Like it's a big enough city to get out and work on your game on your own, but it's not big enough to get away from where the good competition is either. And I think that's another
right,
good thing about the city for sure.
100%. I think we got a special market, a special way to us.
Yeah.
It's um, we definitely have that underdog mentality for people to come out of the city. So it's uh, something to see over these next few years how it continues to grow. Bennett Sturts, Keaton Wagler, we're starting to get some guys to the
Yeah.
league. Mark Mitchell. I think we're gonna have a good, pretty solid handful of guys, in the association. So um, can't can't hide us too long. We coming.
No, definitely. I like how you touched on the part, like, because I think that is how the city keeps evolving, is like these people, continue to keep coming back. These guys, Keaton, Bennett, these guys go play, have a pro career, and then they come back and they give back to community through basketball. And
Hmm.
that is how the game's going to keep evolving in Kansas City, only get better to, have those guys around. I kind of wanted to ask from a training point of view. When I went to college, it felt like I kind of wanted to ask you, like, how do you, as a trainer, balance, how do I say this? Sorry, I got caught up. How do you balance skill, like when you're training, like skill, for
Yeah.
actual like game like situations. Because I feel like when I went to
Yeah.
college, it is like a completely different. Like you're not going out there just like pound dribble between cross step back. Like it's 2 to 3 dribbles max.
Yeah.
As you know, college or an NBA player. You know, the NBA guys are playing. You don't have, uh, you know, 8 dribbles just to get into your bag. So how do you feel like as a trainer you integrate that into your training to help players you work out?
Yeah. I mean, I think like I kind of talked about, I think the evolution, kind of going back to like the evolution of my training and stuff. I think I had a lot of maturing to do in the manner of like, I never did anything crazy, crazy, but as far as like skill work, um, it only goes so far, right? You can only be so skilled.
Yeah.
You can be super skilled, dumb skilled, but if you don't have anything, uh, that's literally going to be directly around what your role is when you step between those lines, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to play out of your role, your responsibilities. And if you think you're going to come in and, be able to sauce it up and get to your stuff, like you're not gonna be able to do that. I think like just within that, as we balance out, um, let me kind of run this back. So Anthony Clemens, when I first started kind of training and he moved to Kansas City, I would be like, yo, I wanna work on this today. And he would come and be like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, what you mean? It's like I'm not gonna do that. It's not my game. I'm like, I know, but you can add it. He's like, why? It's not my game. You know, he's like, people pay me a lot of money to do this or this or this. And so, um, a lot of that, like it kind of helped shape my perspective as far as training. And so your role is who you are, what you're expected and needed to do to win basketball games. At the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. Win. So however you can impact winning, that's what you need to do. If it's I think in the training perspective, I think a lot of people either say, oh, it's just training. Yeah, there's some things we can add and work on, but also the evolution of basketball. Like I said, everybody's so skilled at this point. We just need to focus on how do we win basketball games and how do you impact basketball games the best. So narrow it to that, and we focus on their role. How do we add skill to that? Whether it's 2 to 3 dribbles, whether you're a dude and you're in the top, 100 of the country and Division 1, great. Then you might have the rock. You know what I'm saying? You might have that rock just to like be able to go do your thing. You might have that leash. But the reality is 98% of college basketball players don't. So, how do you build out of what you have? How do you grow out of what you have? And so I think there's several things that like everybody should work on as far as like shooting is a separator. If you can shoot, somebody's gonna be really, really happy. And somebody's gonna be really, really mad. Really, really mad because they got to try and find a way to guard you. If you can get to the rack at will and 2 to 3 dribbles, not have to, shake anybody before you go. Like if you can get there with ease, do it. Don't make the game harder than it needs to be. If you can score in the mid range, which is like such a like I think it's kind of a lost art, but like Vic teaches it. He's been teaching it for however long. It's something that has started to come back into the world as far as basketball. We lost it for a little bit, but like mid range is very alive. Um, and then I think like just guys need to understand what their role is. Dive into your role. How do you get better? Focus on 1, 2, 3 skills to play out of that role, and then go from there.
Yeah.
Um, and
You
so,
you speak on like the collectiveness of
mm,
the intangibles that goes into skill work in terms of just evolving your game, mid range, 3 pointer, attacking the rim. For those like super elite guys, you start to put things in there like the in between the mid range game, and like getting to the free throw line, like all those things. But like I want to take a step towards like the more of the mental side of things also.
Yeah.
Like, how do you personally, as a trainer,
Hmm.
help build confidence in the players? Because not everyone that comes to you is just uber confident, already
Hmm.
like Sapp, for example, who just he's familiar with his game, like, yo, we need to work on this, this, and this, and we're gonna get a lot of reps in, and we're gonna get in the gym, we're gonna get out of the gym and have a good workout. Whereas you get some kids that are like, man, I'm really struggling with this, and you notice that their head drops after certain drills or something like that. How are you able to continue to pour into them as players and things like that.
Yeah, man. I think one of the few things that I've really had to learn is um, how you walk on the court as a trainer, as a coach, as a mentor, uh, what you preach, the words, and just the verbal communication that you're using on the court. It really matters. Your body language is everything. And so one of the things that I had to learn as far as being a coach, and you've got to feed your players confidence. If you don't, not everybody needs it, but most do. And so you've got to be able to support that in a workout setting, and then in a practice or a group setting. And um, you know, there's a lot of that actually I had to learn how to do growing up over the last 10 years in this world of basketball. Um, Plenty of times where I, looking back, like, man, I didn't help that kid's confidence. I actually probably took it away a little bit. And so I think there's a balance to it. You got to challenge kids, but also you have to be able to be willing to like really support them. And so it looks different for everybody. It looks different for everybody. Everybody has a different reason. Everybody has a different why. Uh, and so there's different factors into that. But you got to learn how to engage with players and teach confidence, but also uh, teach how to like actually challenge themselves and you be able to hold them accountable. So that's something I've had to really learn over the last like 10 years. It's not a one size fits all. It's growing, it's changing. Each kid has their own personality. Not every coach is for every player. Not every player is for every coach. Um, and so finding the right person to be able to build you up, but also challenge you in the days you need to be challenged, um, is super important. So I try and remember that as I, one, take on new clientele, two, uh, you know, evaluate long-term clientele, or kind of the whole path and the journey. Like, it's important to stay uh kind of updated in your mind as far as like where we are in that. And so it's something I challenge myself with every day.
Definitely. And do you think that came, like, specifically that understanding came from like the exact, like, the coaching side of things? When you're at Sunrise, you did some work with the TBT K-State team.
Hmm.
You said at Blue Valley Northwest. Do you think that understanding of like, because like you have a different role obviously as a
Yeah,
coach versus as a trainer. Like, it's as a
very
trainer, it's
much
a
so.
little easier to push confidence into someone. Tell someone you're doing all right, blah blah blah. But as a coach, someone messes up. That's a reflection of you too. Now, you know what I mean?
Right.
You think that understanding of, finding that happy medium kind of with players, instilling confidence in them, but also being tough on them came from specifically coaching?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't actually been asked this before. I think that's a like it's kind of a mixture of things. I would say it's partially from the coaching.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so just like reps and mistakes and just trial and error, and mishandling situations and whatever that may be. And so I think a little bit of that, you got to learn how to I feel like sometimes I was walking on eggshells at times coaching, and so it's like I don't want to feel that way. I want to be very comfortable with my players, so I'm going to be able to uh, uplift, and then sometimes I'm going to be able to have to you know get it together. Um, I think the other side is a mentor of mine, Tim Martin. He now coaches for the Spurs, is on staff with Spurs. But working with him and the little bit that I have on court, it made me realize a lot of things. the game is very simple, continued, you know, but also back to the like relationship's the most important part. Um, if you don't have a strong foundation, you can't nudge the tower to see if it's gonna fall over or not. So you know it's gonna fall over. If um, and you definitely can't build on top of it. So the relationship's the most important part. The second side of it being, he challenged me to really take a step back and understand, like, I may see up to or more than 100 and some kids a week in a either one-on-one group setting or team setting. And so I may see more than 100 kids a week on a normal basis right now. And so the the understanding of, like, I put on 100 different hats at a minimum every week, and I have to be able to relate to you, and I have to be able to relate to him. And so I think that's one of the biggest challenges. He taught me how to have to, like, take a step back and understand I got to clear my head. Just like I'm eating sushi, you got to clear your taste buds from the next one roll to the next roll. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you got to be able to clear your head and clear uh, everything you know about the last player, and be able to, like, focus on, okay, who is this player? What is going to help them? How do I need to handle this workout? What should my tone be? Stuff like that. I think a lot of that really matters. Delivery and just building of confidence and all of that. But that was one of the huge things, I think, along with Sunrise, along with working with pros, along in coaching pros at TBT. Like, it's a crazy environment. Working with players that I grew up watching and idolizing. I think between that and then having to coach or getting to coach super young level kids. And so I think it's such a wide scale. Everybody's different on their own timeline. Everybody's got a different point on their timeline. So you got to be able to uh, meet each of those points in time. So
Definitely, man. We gotta get you on for part two of the episode because I was gonna ask you about the parents, but hey, that might be a conversation for another time for
uh,
sure. When you touch on like having to wear 100 different hats and be relational with
yeah,
the kids and things like that and the athletes that you're training, I'm sure that
yeah,
it's pretty similar with each parent or each when you talk about the younger kids, I guess too. Um,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's pretty similar. Just having to understand like how to speak to them and say, hey, we got to keep working on this, or hey, we got to slow it down with this type of thing. So, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. If you don't want to get into it, we don't have to.
No, I can't. I can't. I think that's something that I probably would give to my family, actually. There's such a wide age range gap between my brother and I and my sister and I. Like, there's a 10-year gap between me and my brother, and then there's another 8-year gap, 9-year gap between my brother and my sister. So it's just such a vast scale of like people that I've had to, one, from a very young age, get to learn how to interact with parents, friends, people that are older than me, people that maybe are more experienced than me. And so a lot of that came from actually just growing up, and being kind of like a social butterfly growing up. And so um, no, I would definitely credit that to my family and just my upbringing in that manner. So
Definitely, I'm gonna do things a little bit different today. Typically, I'm
okay,
the one that does the easy choice. Today,
okay,
Today we're gonna give it off to Zayd to do the easy choice, which is a rapid fire question round
okay.
segment in our podcast and how we kind of come to the end of things. But I've got
Mhm.
one more question for you before we get into that. What's one story or a candid event from your training tenure that you can think of that may be either a funny story or just like I know you done seen some crazy shit around the time of you coaching. So
See plenty of crazy stuff.
yeah,
Um, I'm just gonna go with easy real quick here. Like, one of the craziest, most like uh wild events was getting to go watch Duke and UNC, sitting in Duke's arena and you know, watching Mark get to hoop against UNC as he was a sophomore was surreal. I know that's like probably not exactly what you're looking for, but I would just say like still just an unreal experience. I think that's like one of the biggest tickets I think growing up for me at least was like Duke and UNC. That's like one of the top five tickets you can buy in America. And
Yeah,
so getting to experience that firsthand, um, was unreal. Just getting to sit court inside at that one was crazy to see that. So um, I would say that.
that's dope for sure. And with that being said, Zayd, I'll let you take the easy choice today.
Man, this is my first time running this segment of the episode. But this is a little segment we do with all our guests. We tell a little rapid fire question round. I think we only have like
Mhm.
5 or 6 questions for you today, so it's a little less than
Okay.
as we typically do.
Okay.
But yeah, rapid fire questions. I'll ask you them, and you just make the easy choice, I guess. Just give your fast
Yes,
answer
sir.
and whatever comes to mind. So we'll start in 3, 2, 1. What do college coaches really look for?
Passion.
Okay. Best player you've ever seen in Kansas City?
From Kansas City or in Kansas City?
In Kansas City.
Uh, ooh, it's tough. Play or like just be in Kansas City?
Play.
Okay. Because that changes obviously. I'm gonna go with we'll give it a nod to Landry Shaman. He just won a championship.
Yeah, Shannon.
Toughest player you've ever trained, and toughest as in TUFF for tough.
Toughest player I train,
You've ever trained.
I have ever trained. Ooh, that is uh
You stepping on any toes now if they.
man, I know. I gotta watch who I say. I gotta watch who I say. Uh I get some backlash for this. Uh this is tough, bro. This is tough. It's not very quick. It's not very fast, rapid fire for you. I'm gonna go with
We'll give you 2 or 3 if you don't want to.
okay.
We'll give you two. We'll give you
All
two
right.
or three
All
people.
right.
You can shout out.
Tough is meaning just
They just got a.
wow.
Yeah, they got a nice
Okay.
bag. They're going out there and
Okay. Okay.
do it.
Oh,
Because I
this is
know
hard.
who's on that list.
There's a lot of names on the list, so I
Yeah,
gotta watch who I say. Uh, man, I would say Evan Gilliard. Uh, Xavier Rhodes is on that list. I think he's got some moments. And then I would go with quick nod to Christian Brown.
Okay.
if you, I'm sorry, Zayd, I'm gonna ask after. I'm gonna ask after because I just thought of something.
Most underrated basketball skill.
Uh, Passing.
Passing. Okay. One NBA player every young player should study.
Oof. I would say hottest in the game right now, probably Jalen Brunson or Shea Gilgeous.
Okay.
Playing off two.
And our final question for you today is one thing every basketball parent needs to hear.
Just be a supporter. Be there to support your kid. Cheer them on through the good days, the bad days. Allow people who know the game and are teachers of the game to actually guide them through their journey. Just be there to support, be there to challenge them and the right ways, but allow the actual it's kind of a good cop, bad cop thing. I think like your family should be the good cop out of everything, right? So I think you know you shouldn't have to feel that parents there's a lot of pressure already put on these kids, whether it's themselves or the appearance or the perspective of others. And we live in a world where everybody's got an opinion on everything. And so I think just allow your kid to be a kid, but also support them in every possible way. Don't feel the need to add to the pressure, right?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the easy choice.
Hey,
Yeah, no, that was we gotta throw some steps for Deppen on that one. Pretty
Man, I
fast. Hey, you
appreciate
know
it.
what? You're pretty fast on your feet. There's a couple ones in there,
yeah, the
took you a
tough
sec.
ones.
I feel like you gave
Dude, that's tough, bro.
yeah, no,
That's tough.
Yeah, I gotta know. So you said Gilliard,
hey,
Xavier
no.
Rhodes, and
Okay,
Chris.
was he the one that I used to play 1v1 with in the old gym?
Yes,
Oh my
Evan
gosh.
Gilliard. Yes.
Jesus
No,
Christ. Hey.
nobody probably really knows him, so I might get a little flack about that. But
Okay.
he was here. He played at UMKC his last year. Was a fun like he's killing in the G League right now. Like should probably be on a two-way. But just he just got done, and I think he's in CBL now, so he's in Canada,
Hey, man,
and still lighting it up.
his bag was unreal.
Nasty bag, like
I remember
nasty,
after
nasty
one of his
bag,
workouts, they started questioning how good I am. I was
bro.
like, I did not like that.
Yeah.
Nasty, nasty bag. And Zay could guard, but nasty, nasty bag. I think he got a lot of people with some like, oh, he got that. Never mind. All right, it's all good. I'll stay out the way.
Yeah.
If,
Uh,
if you could
but
add, if you could add two guys to that list
mm,
in a game of King of the Court,
oh,
who's winning that game? You kind of touched on Bro's back a little bit right there. So, but if you could add,
he's.
just to expand the list to show the depth,
I think it all goes down to rules of rules here, but like, man, if we're, oh, I never like back down. I never would bet against Christian Brown to be able to like just will a win. I would say we kind of talked about that, but I would say him, man, that's so tough, bro. We got so many good ball players. We got so many good ball players here. Straight up one on one.
Manuel Bears.
come on, Z.
I
Come
haven't seen
on,
the. I haven't.
Z.
I respect it. I haven't seen the one on one game yet. I haven't really seen you ISO much yet. So
That's
I
fair. I don't be, bro. I don't be ISOing at the runs, bro. I be playing the game. Ryan,
play your role, baby.
yeah, he said in the huddle, he was like, "Hey, last week it got a little bit of one on one at the end. I was patting myself on the back. I was like, I know that wasn't me. I know he not talking to me right now. I was moving it. I was
Oh
moving it,
man.
me trying to get a rebound. Z.
Okay.
Man, no, we just want good bump, man. We just want good
Yeah.
bump. It's in spurts. There's a lot of good ball players, man. It's so tough.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. They're like it's such an unfair. I'm gonna get flack either way. Like people are gonna be on me about this. Man,
What age?
I'm gonna go from the city. So that's like from the city. All right. So Evan Gilliard's out of the way. I'm gonna go Christian Brown. If you call him, he's from the city. Uh, he's from KC. Uh, I have a hard time believing anybody's going to stop Landry Shamet from making a shot right now. Uh, and I'll go Jacob Gilliard. So I'll sub in Evan Gilliard for Jacob Gilliard. Jacob Gilliard's tough. Gilly's nice. Gilly's really nice. Tyon Grant Foster is another phenomenal basketball player
Yeah,
too.
Zion gets going, bro.
It's hard to stop, man. A dude can move. He can shoot. He can get to the rim at will, and he's silky smooth with the ball, like silky smooth. Uh, Man, I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody. I definitely am. I feel like I am. Hmm. I'm gonna leave it at that, though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Man, what is the age for what is the age for you right now of kids that you can still give a little, you can still talk your shit if you want to play a little 1v1 with them. What's that up? Yeah, I remember we used to,
We
yeah, we
used
used
to
to
talk a
play a
little.
little
We
bit.
used to play a little bit. Man, I'm getting old, bro. I'm getting old.
What's the age
No,
cutoff
I'm
for
just
the
kidding.
kids, I
I'm
guess?
just
Like
kidding. Nah,
the game's
I'm just kidding.
evolving. The game
Oh
evolves.
man,
Nice eighth graders
bro,
out there, but like,
these some of these eighth graders. some of these eighth graders look like they seniors in high school, so we gotta watch out, man. Like I got a gonna be a freshman kid, 6'4", athletic. What? And he can shoot. He can do all the things. I'm like, I would say I can play ball with most high schoolers. Still, it's just I'll play ones with anybody. Now the question is, I may talk trash. It's just a matter of if I'm make shots. I'm still talk trash. It's a matter if the ball's going in at that rate. So uh, that's nah. I'll never back down from a game, but it takes a little bit longer for me to recover nowadays. So for sure, with all the hours on court. So
Man, I personally only have one more question, and I'm gonna let Zay
yeah,
hit the home run for it here. But if you could give a message to every young player in Kansas City, whether they hear the clip, whether they watch the full episode, whatever the case may be,
yeah,
message from Deppen, what would that message be today?
man. This sport is a job now. It gets made into be a job a lot now. I think it's really, really important that kids try and focus on making sure they have fun. Make sure you have fun. If you're not doing something because you love it, I would ask you, why are you doing it? It took me a long time to figure out what I loved growing up, but when I found out what I loved and why I loved it, and I've chased after it, and it hasn't done me wrong since. So, I'm appreciative of this game. It can take you anywhere, but also there's a ton of different avenues that can take you anywhere in life as well. It's just about how you treat people and always put a smile on your face, man. Like, I think a lot of people can go be very successful in whatever they want to do just by treating people the right way and never say no. Go try things and have fun. But more specifically in basketball, just all in all, this thing gets turned into a job now. From high school to college, to pro, it's obviously a job, but like even younger and younger now with NIL and transfer portal and all that. Like this stuff is it's very intense journey, and it's very cutthroat, and so there's not a ton of opportunities. So it kind of has to be a job in some ways, but have fun. Just have fun. Find ways to have fun. Find ways to wake up every day, and the first thing you want to do is hoop. First thing you want to do is go to the court. So if that doesn't happen for you, then do what you'd like to do. But I would suggest finding something that really wakes you up every day with your, new excitement uh, to chase what you got. You know, so that'd be my 2 cents.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, that was good. I'll get some stats for that. That was nice.
Make me
Um,
want to go shoot right now. I'm gonna go get some jumpers up right now.
I have a follow-up to that. Like, how do you plan to keep evolving, as a trainer? Or, just keep watching the game, studying the game? How do you keep planning? Obviously, the game's ever changing, so you have to, keep
Mhm.
evolving. So how do you plan to keep doing that?
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm like, you guys introduced me as a student of the game. I'm probably, some people would call me a sicko. We have a group chat, and it's literally named the Basketball Sickos. Um, because one of us will be watching film at 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's just how it goes. I really love watching basketball. I study it night and day. Like I have, usually on the weekends I'll take a good 4 hour chunk and just watch film. Um, but I would say, as far as like evolving in, a job format, I would say, like, to me, like, I want to just be able to create an opportunity for myself to be known as a to be utilized more so from more people as a resource. I think I want to be able to bring a lot of things through Kansas City to Kansas City, build things in Kansas City that other people don't have. And I think that's, again, it kind of goes from that, flyover state, flyover city type of underdog mentality. I want to be able to really establish help establish. There's a lot of really good people here as far as basketball, but I want to be able to help establish uh, a culture of basketball that I think this city is really proud of, in a lot of ways. Not that we aren't already, but continue to help grow and build that. And I want to help kids get more and more opportunities every year. I want to help pros get more and more opportunities every year. I want to help uh, college kids, with more and more opportunities every year. There's something I can do to help. Like I want to be able to do that. So this city deserves it. There's a lot of really great people here. Um, and I think like just being able to expand my reach uh, and network and relationships is first to that. But um, I want to like along the way, I want to do as much as I can to help establish this city as one of the best basketball cities in the world. So that's the end goal for me. You know,
Definitely.
The
Very
final
exciting.
question we both have for you to, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The
No,
final
I was
question.
just saying, I see it's attainable. Like it's definitely possible, bro.
mm,
That's why I
Uh,
was just agreeing.
try and do it the right way, man. That's
Hmm.
it. Just try and do it the right way. I'm very passionate about how it's done, not just why and what it looks like and where it ends up at, but I think how it's done in that manner is really important to me.
things the right way, man. That's a good. Because then once you get to the top, you did it the right way, and you get all. It's all just love. That's all it is.
That's all that really matters.
Yep,
So
definitely, man. Well, the last question we always ask all our guests is if you could see one person next on this podcast, who would you want to see?
you guys do it weekly.
Yeah.
I would say Mark Mitchell would be good timing for you. Mark Mitchell. I would say Mark has got some crazy stories, and Mark's from the city. Been through such a tremendous, journey. Um, but I would say Mark, come have an easy combo, bro.
Man, let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Do
But
due diligence.
yeah, man, that's all I got today. We obviously really appreciate you coming on. We hope it was a easy conversation for you. You see what we did there.
I see it. I see it. I like it.
Okay.
But,
I like it.
nah, man, it was cool. It was cool to hear your story and obviously connect with you again. I mean, I haven't got to sit down and talk to you face to face for a while now, and that's
Yeah,
kind of a goal out of this podcast too, is just to reconnect with people and keep those relationships. And
one
obviously, I'm
hundred
happy
percent.
to see everything's going for well for you, and wish you the best as you keep growing and evolving.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Let me know if I can do anything to help you guys, and give me a shout. I'll see you next week.
So I'll see you next week, brother, for sure. We'll be
All
right back
right,
at it.
boss.
All right, man. For everyone listening, if you enjoyed content like this, make sure you like, comment, and share. We'll see you next time. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Ryan.
No doubt.